There's a roll of plastic film that costs less than a cheap pizza and blocks more summer heat than most people's $3,200 air conditioning upgrade. It's been sold at hardware stores since the 1970s. It's applied with a spray bottle and a squeegee in under 2 hours, and it reduces solar heat gain through a window by up to 85% while staying optically clear enough that most visitors never notice it's there. If that sounds like marketing exaggeration, I understand the skepticism. I had the same skepticism until I looked at the independent laboratory data. The numbers are real. The film is cheap. The installation is a weekend project. And nobody selling window replacements for $9,000 an order wants you to know this exists. The technology is called Solar Control Window Film. In some product categories, it's called Low Emissivity Film, Heat Blocking Film, or Reflective Window Film. The specific product varies by manufacturer, but the underlying physics is the same. A thin polyester film, usually between 1 and 4 mils thick, is coated with microscopically thin layers of metal oxides, ceramics, or specialized dyes. These coatings are engineered to selectively block specific wavelengths of solar radiation, specifically infrared heat and ultraviolet light, while still transmitting most of the visible spectrum. You see through the window normally. The sun's heat hits the film and bounces right back outside or gets absorbed before it ever enters the room. The effect is measurable and significant. A typical single-pane window with no treatment has what's called a solar heat gain coefficient, or SHGC, of around 0.85. That means 85% of the solar energy hitting the glass passes through into your room. Add a modern ceramic solar control film, and the SHGC can drop to 0.15 or lower, which means 85% of the solar heat is now being rejected at the glass surface instead of loading up your air conditioner. Same window, same frame, same glass. Just a thin plastic film bonded to the interior surface. And the cooling load for the entire room can drop by 40 to 60%. Let me put that in dollars. The average American home has between 10 and 18 windows. During cooling season, typically mid-April through mid-October in most of the country, the combined solar heat gain through untreated windows accounts for 25 to 45% of total air conditioning load. In southern climates, that number climbs higher. In a home with a $1,800 annual cooling bill, roughly $450 to $810 of that bill is spent fighting heat that entered through windows. A properly applied solar control film can cut that contribution by 60 to 80%, saving somewhere between $270 and $650 per cooling season. On a project that costs $12 per window, plus an afternoon of labor, the payback period is typically measured in weeks. Tyler Morrison, a Texas homeowner who documented his DIY window film project on a consumer review site in 2021, bought a roll of 3M ceramic solar control film for $162 online. The roll was wide enough and long enough to cover the 14 south and west-facing windows of his San Antonio home, which accounted for almost all of his solar heat gain. He completed the installation over a single Saturday with a spray bottle of soapy water, a plastic squeegee, and a box cutter. His electric bill for that summer dropped by $412 compared to the previous year. The product paid for itself in a single cooling season. Every summer since has been pure savings. Claire Vasquez, an Arizona resident, had a different experience but reached the same conclusion. She paid a professional installer to apply high-quality ceramic film to all 22 windows of her Tucson home in 2019. Her total cost was $1,840, including materials and labor. Her annual cooling bill, which had been running approximately $2,700 in pre-film years, dropped to $1,580 in the first post-film year. Second year was similar. Third year was similar. The film has a manufacturer warranty of 15 years, and she's on track to save more than $15,000 in cooling costs over that period. Same house, same windows. One-time installation. A third example worth including. A small property management company in Central Florida documented film installations across 12 rental units in a mid-sized apartment complex between 2017 and 2019. Total cost, including professional installation of ceramic film on every exterior window of all 12 units, was $22,400. Cumulative electrical cost savings across the 12 units over the subsequent 4 years totaled roughly $31,700. The units also reported significantly lower tenant complaints about summer comfort and better retention rates, which carries its own economic value. The property manager told a local business magazine that window film was, quote, "the best cost per dollar capital improvement we've made in 15 years of operating rental properties." That quote ran in print. It's searchable. It's not marketing copy from a film manufacturer. Here's where it gets technical, because the film category has huge variation in quality and performance. Not every product marketed as window film is the same. There are 3 main categories worth understanding. The cheapest category is dyed film, which uses organic pigments to reduce visible light transmission. This film does block some heat, but primarily through darkening the window, which makes the interior darker. Dyed films typically have a lifespan of 3 to 7 years before they start to fade, bubble, or turn purple. Cost is low, often under $5 per window. Performance is modest, good for temporary situations or rental properties. The middle category is metallized film, which uses thin layers of aluminum, nickel, or copper to reflect heat. These films are more effective than dyed films and last longer, often 10 to 15 years, but they can have a visible reflective quality from the outside that some people find unattractive. Metallized films can also interfere with cell phone and radio signals, which is worth knowing before installing. Cost runs about $8 to $12 per window in DIY rolls. The top category is ceramic film, which uses microscopically thin ceramic particles to reject heat and ultraviolet light without significantly affecting visible light transmission or reflectivity. These films are optically almost invisible from either side. They typically last 15 to 20 years. They don't interfere with wireless signals. And they have the highest heat rejection performance, often exceeding 80% for infrared blocking. Cost is higher, usually $12 to $18 per window, in DIY rolls, or $80 to $140 per window for professional installation with top-tier product. The $12 target lands squarely in the good ceramic film DIY range. For most homeowners, that's the best value point. High performance, long lifespan, not too difficult to install, and genuinely affordable on a per-window basis. There's a secondary benefit that often goes unmentioned: good quality. Solar Control film blocks roughly 99% of ultraviolet light. UV is what fades your furniture, bleaches your carpets, yellows your window frames, and damages hardwood floors over time. Replacing sun-damaged furnishings over the course of 20 years easily exceeds the cost of window film by several multiples. That's a second stream of invisible savings that doesn't show up on any utility bill. There's a health dimension too. UV exposure through windows is a documented contributor to skin aging and, in rare cases, skin cancer. People who spend significant time in sunrooms, home offices with large windows, or kitchens with big east-facing exposures accumulate surprisingly high UV doses over time. Window film effectively eliminates this exposure while preserving the visible light. Dermatologists have begun specifically recommending Solar Control film for patients with sun-sensitive skin conditions or a history of skin cancer. That's a genuine medical benefit that comes bundled with the energy savings. There's also a glare reduction benefit. Many homeowners with big windows have to close blinds or curtains during bright afternoons because of uncomfortable glare on screens, furniture, or faces. Quality film reduces glare by 40 to 70% depending on the product, allowing blinds to stay open, rooms to stay naturally bright, and occupants to actually enjoy their windows instead of hiding from them. This isn't a quantifiable savings on any utility bill, but it's a real quality of life improvement that most homeowners never consider until they experience it. There's also a winter consideration worth understanding. Some solar control films are specifically engineered for summer cooling, but can slightly reduce winter heat gain through south-facing windows. For homes in mild climates where cooling is the dominant energy concern, this is a net positive. For homes in cold climates where winter solar gain is helpful, you may want to install film selectively, covering east and west windows that overheat in summer while leaving south windows untreated for maximum winter benefit. Read the product specifications carefully. Many modern films have seasonally balanced performance, blocking summer heat more aggressively than winter heat. The history of this technology is less dramatic than most forgotten tech stories, but it matters. The first consumer solar control films were developed in the late 1960s by aerospace companies looking for ways to manage heat on satellites. The technology was declassified and commercialized by 3M starting in 1971. The original consumer products were primarily metallized films used in commercial office buildings during the 1970s energy crisis. By the 1990s, ceramic films had entered the market, offering much better optical quality. By the 2010s, the technology had matured to the point where a DIY homeowner could install film matching the quality of commercial installations from a decade earlier. Today, any reasonable hardware store or online retailer sells multiple quality tiers of film at prices that make it one of the highest ROI home improvements available. So why hasn't every sun-facing window in America been filmed? 4 reasons worth naming. First, window replacement industry marketing. Companies that sell replacement windows have multi-million-dollar advertising budgets promoting their products. A full window replacement runs between $400 and $2,500 per window installed, and these companies need you to believe that full replacement is the only viable solution to window performance. Window film, which delivers 60 to 80% of the thermal performance of a replacement window at less than 5% of the cost, is essentially never promoted because nobody in the industry profits from your choosing it. Second, installer gatekeeping. Many homeowners assume window film must be professionally installed to work properly. Professional installation is a legitimate service, particularly for large or unusually shaped windows, but the majority of residential windows can be filmed successfully by a careful homeowner. The application process is not complicated. Spray soapy water on clean glass. Apply the film. Squeegee out the bubbles. Trim the edges. Wait 24 to 72 hours for the adhesive to fully cure. That's the whole process. Third, perceived reversibility concerns. Some homeowners worry that film will damage their windows or be impossible to remove. Quality ceramic and metallized films are removable with a steamer or heat gun and typically leave no residue when removed correctly. Consumer films don't void window warranties on most modern products. Verify with your specific window manufacturer if this concerns you. Fourth, simple awareness. The product category gets essentially zero mainstream marketing attention because the margins don't support it. You won't see window film ads during football games. The product lives in a quiet corner of the home improvement world, known to DIY enthusiasts and commercial building managers, but largely invisible to average homeowners. Independent testing backs all of this up. The National Fenestration Rating Council maintains a public database of tested window treatment performance. Search for any product by manufacturer name and model number And you'll find the verified SHGC, visible transmittance, and UV rejection values. The data is public. The testing is standardized. The products that claim 85% heat rejection actually deliver it in independent laboratory conditions. Let me walk you through the installation process because it's genuinely approachable. Clean the window thoroughly, using a razor scraper to remove any paint, tape, or adhesive residue. Finish with a lint-free cloth and rubbing alcohol. Mix a spray bottle with a few drops of dish soap in distilled water. Cut your film to the approximate size of the window, leaving an extra ½ inch on all sides for trimming. Peel the release liner from the film. Spray the adhesive side with the soapy water. Spray the glass generously with the same solution. Apply the film to the glass, adhesive side against the glass. The soapy water allows you to slide and position the film without it sticking permanently. Once positioned, use a plastic squeegee to push out the water and air bubbles from the center outward. Trim the edges with a sharp blade against a straight edge. Clean up with a damp cloth. Total time per window: 10 to 25 minutes depending on complexity. Common installation mistakes to avoid. Working in dusty conditions will trap particles between the film and the glass. Do the installation indoors with windows closed. Working on very hot glass causes the adhesive to set too quickly. Close the blinds in the morning and work in the afternoon when the glass has cooled slightly. Skipping the soapy water and applying dry causes permanent bubbles. Always wet both the film and the glass. Using an old squeegee with nicks causes streaks. Buy a new plastic squeegee for the project. They cost about $4. One more detail most DIY installers learn the hard way. Film needs 1 to 4 days to fully cure after installation, during which you may see slight haze or water pockets between the film and the glass. Don't panic. Don't try to pop bubbles. The water will evaporate through the film over the curing period and the haze will clear. After the curing window, the installation looks identical to professional work at a tiny fraction of the cost. The resale value question comes up occasionally. Does window film hurt your home's appearance or resale value? Quality ceramic films are essentially invisible from both inside and outside. Real estate listings rarely mention window film either positively or negatively. The utility cost savings become a selling point during showings. Most real estate professionals report that quality filmed windows are a neutral to slightly positive factor at resale, particularly in hot climates where buyers understand the cooling benefit. Longevity expectations deserve a clear note. A quality ceramic film properly installed on a clean, undamaged window typically performs without degradation for 15 to 20 years. Manufacturers often back this with warranties lasting 12 to 15 years. After 2 decades, the film can be removed, the window cleaned, and new film applied if desired. The underlying glass is not damaged by the process. This isn't a permanent, irreversible modification. It's a long-lived but replaceable upgrade that essentially turns any window into a high-performance solar control glazing for a tiny fraction of the cost of a real replacement. One more installation tip from experienced DIY installers. Do one window first before attempting multiple windows. You will improve dramatically between your first and your third window. Practicing on a smaller or less visible window lets you build the hand skills for squeegeeing, trimming, and positioning before you tackle your most prominent glass. The learning curve is short but real. For apartment renters and people who don't own their homes, there's a variation worth knowing about. Static cling window film, which uses no adhesive, can be applied and removed without any permanent attachment. Performance is slightly lower than true adhesive film, but still meaningful, and the film can travel with you when you move. Cost is similar, around $8 to $14 per window. worth considering if you can't make permanent changes to your rental unit. And for those in particularly severe climates, film can be combined with other window treatments for stacked benefits. Thermal curtains, cellular shades, and exterior awnings all reduce solar gain through different mechanisms. Using them together, with film as the base layer, can deliver cooling load reductions exceeding 90% on a per-window basis. That's essentially eliminating your window as a heat source during peak summer afternoons. A useful outcome for any homeowner in a cooling dominant climate. There's a safety feature worth mentioning. Thick solar control films, typically 7 to 15 mils, also function as security or shatter-resistant films. When a window breaks, the glass fragments remain adhered to the film, rather than scattering across the room. This is useful in hurricane-prone regions, in areas with burglary concerns, and in homes with young children. Some insurance companies offer premium discounts for homes with shatter-resistant film on vulnerable windows. Ask your carrier if this applies to your policy. Costs rise. With thicker films, but the combined benefits of heat rejection and impact resistance can justify the upgrade for many homeowners. This isn't a gimmick. It isn't an exaggeration. It isn't one of those products that technically works, but only under laboratory conditions. Millions of square feet of this film have been installed across commercial and residential buildings globally over the past 5 decades. The performance is predictable, repeatable, and backed by standardized testing. The only thing that separates you from the benefit is a roll of film, a spray bottle, and one good afternoon with your sleeves rolled up. Think about the broader pattern here. This is the same pattern that runs through every quiet home efficiency upgrade the mainstream industry doesn't promote. Low visibility, high return, simple installation, no recurring revenue for the companies that would otherwise profit from your higher bills. The film isn't obscure. It's been on shelves for 50 years. The physics isn't new. It's been measured and verified by every major testing laboratory on 3 continents. The only thing that keeps millions of American windows untreated every summer is that the knowledge doesn't travel through the channels most homeowners are listening to. Test this yourself. Don't take anyone's word for it. Buy a single small roll of mid-tier solar control film for $14. Film the one south-facing or west-facing window you hate most during summer afternoons, the one that bakes your furniture and overheats the room. Stand in that room the following summer afternoon. Compare it to what you remember. Your skin will tell you before your utility bill does. Then decide whether to film the rest of the windows in your home. The physics doesn't change. The film doesn't lie. The only remaining question is how many summers you're going to keep overpaying for cooling before you finally try it. $12 and one Saturday afternoon. That's the entire ask. Everything else is your existing home already doing more work with less effort.